Hello and welcome to another Outlook cover discussion. We have Chinki, our editor, with us. Hi, Chinki.
Hi, Satish ji.
So, this is a very fascinating area that we have tried to cover this week of this Punjabi rap. Well, we could call it gangsta rap. It's the Punjabi music scene where it's the lyrics are all it's all about bullets and guns and a lot of violence. Unfortunately, it led to the killing of one of the very, very popular singers, Sidhu Moosewala, recently.
Yeah, actually, when the trigger for us was the killing, of course, but we have also done an entire issue on hip hop, before in Outlook, just to explore the context of hip hop, which originated in, the US and traveled to India. It's more of like the music of the oppressed, and then the rap thing is more of compression of lyrics to say more. So we thought that we'll have our reporters and the photographer go to Punjab and kind of explore this phenomena. What is this music? What is their angst? And the music is obviously very, very, very powerful, as you said, and there's a lot of violence. There's gangster rap, it was started by Scully D, I think many, many years ago. And this whole gang wars between the singers, like this whole thing, which also reminds you of Biggie B and Tupac. And Sidhu Moosewala also had written about his death in one of the songs, his last album, I suppose. We have a lot of interesting stuff. We have a very nice story about the lynching just happened in Udaipur, like the killing of the tailor.
Very detailed ground report from, the kind of place that is, what sort of a part of Udaipur is this? How were people, the various communities were living together so far, the economic interdependence between them. We are trying to go behind and see like why certain things happen in certain
and kind
places.
Of go beyond as well in terms of looking at a particular event, which is what Outlook is all about.
Just before we go to Udaipur, I wanted to mention this other, very, very heart-wrenching story of this Ban Singh, this singer. Who you had also heard of. It's a very, very tragic case, and how he's still fighting and how he's still singing.
Actually, that story came from one of my earlier encounters with a reporter who had talked about Ban Singh. He was in Chandigarh, and he told me about the singing torso. And I always wanted to kind of go see this person because the story was very powerful. With his daughter was raped and he was attacked, and amputation of his limbs occurred. He doesn't. And his story was very powerful in terms of this other side of music, which is coming from a place of real pain. And what is it? The other thing I wanted to talk about is this really, really interesting thing that happened with this film. She's a friend of mine, Leena Manik Malay, who made this film on Kali. And the poster came under a lot of controversy, as everything does in this country at this point, where she shows a woman dressed up as Kali, smoking a cigarette and having a pride flag, it's a rainbow flag. And, a lot of this trolling happened. There were calls for her beheading. The brief was to make a film on multiculturalism. And so we got in touch with Leena, and then she sent this footage of this film where this woman dressed up as Kali is roaming the streets of Toronto, and this whole take on multiculturalism and she says a very interesting line, about how Kali is her denied existence.
In the sense that, they really are so provocative and so, touching on issues which nobody else really, dwells on. In fact, that Marathi is one of the most powerful films I've ever seen.
And she's also very, very beautiful and a very, very powerful poet. And she has shared, a lot of her poems written in Tamil, which were translated by her friend. And we have taken one of those poems as well it's called Cyber Kali. And, I would still say, as a journalist, religion is a very personal thing. We grow up with gods and goddesses and we interpret them according to our surroundings and the context that we grow up in and our experiences, of course. And there's this big moment in our country where we don't know what to do with religion, I think. And that's, and I think artistic freedom should be allowed. Also, the cigarette smoking bit, it's about this spark. And because people don't see the film and the story as a whole, they take out one segment and they make it seem out of proportion.
Seagull Publications has recently turned 40. And, it's we have a very interesting piece by Nilanjana Bhaumik about Naveen Kishore. Who's done some revolutionary stuff in publishing in India.
Totally revolutionary. I actually just had to ask them to send me a book because that book is out of print. And what an interesting book about Bombay. And I mean, hats off to people in publishing who still have the thing to publish such interesting stuff.
So yeah, so as always, there's lots to read. The issue should be out soon in the stands. Otherwise, of course, there is always www.outlookindia.com. Thank you very much.